Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are safe at home. So today we are going to discuss about the last topic of our chapter 2, that is the changes. So how you can understand about the changes, that we are taking a simple example about the wood. We will do two activities with a wooden block or with a piece of wood. That first is, if you cut the piece of wooden block or simply wooden block, then you will see there is no other change than it is divided into two pieces, two or more pieces. And if you burn this same wooden block, then you will see that it is different than that of the cutting. That means when you burn the wooden block, you will see that the flame is produced there, the gases are also present there. So this a simple wooden block is explaining about the two types of changes. The types of changes we have is, first is the physical change and second is the chemical change. So now let us discuss about what is a physical and what is a chemical change. Simply you can write here that when no new substance is formed. That means when you cut that wooden block, there is no new substance. The wooden block is actually a wooden piece after cutting, and when you burn a wooden block, it is forming new substances. That means when new substances are formed is a type of chemical change. So now let's take another example, that you can simply do an activity. We are taking two beakers, label them A and B, put some sugar in both the beakers, and in beaker A add some water, in beaker B add sulfuric acid. Now what you will observe, you will see that the sugar is dissolved in beaker A, and in beaker B what you will see that after dissolving sulfuric acid into the sugar, it is forming a sugar charcoal that is black in color. So when sugar is dissolved is a type of physical change, and when sugar charcoal is formed is a type of chemical change. So this physical change is not a permanent change. That means a temporary change is present there in the physical change. Because why this is a temporary change? Because when you want to get back the sugar, you can actually heat up this mixture and you will see that the water is evaporated and you will get sugar back into the beaker. You will get sugar particles into the beaker. But when you will do the same activity with this beaker second B with the solution of the sugar and sulfuric acid, and when you heat that charcoal, you will not get back the same sugar or sulfuric acid. Okay, understood? So now let's define physical change. I'm simply speaking or explaining about the physical change. You can write the definition of the physical change, that a physical change is a temporary change in which the composition of the substance remains the same and no new substance is formed, but only a change of state occurs. That means there will no new substance will form, only a change of state occurs. Examples, you already know that the tearing of paper, that means you are just cutting the piece of paper, or breaking of glass. is a type of physical change. And about the chemical change, it is a permanent change. Permanent change in which a new substance is formed that has properties which are different from the original substance. That means the properties will be different from the original substance that is formed after the changes. Okay, so example for these are rusting of iron. That means iron is different than that from rust. Or burning of charcoal. So these are the examples of the chemical change, and these are our two types of changes, that is the physical change and the chemical change. So now, as we already know that about the pure substances and mixtures, we already discussed this in the previous one videos, that is the pure substances. What are the pure substances? When there is no adulteration. There is no adulteration means a substance which is made up of a single kind of particles. There will be no second type of particle. That is a pure substance. For example, iron. This means iron is made up of only the atoms of the iron. No any another element or any another atom will be there. Similarly, gold and silver. Okay, understood? So this is the pure substance. And now mixture. A mixture is a substance which contains two or more different kinds of particles. Here we have two or more different kind of particles. For example, a salt solution is a mixture of salt and water. That means two or more substances are present there. So there are over 100 elements in our earth like sodium, potassium and magnesium, and these elements are present in our periodic table in the chemistry. So elements, now we can define. These are actually the types of the pure substances. The types of pure substances. First, element. So what is an element? A pure substance which is made up of one kind of atoms and cannot be broken into two or more simpler substances by physical or chemical methods is referred to as an element. That means is a pure substance. Element is a pure substance made up of one kind of atoms and cannot be broken into two or more simpler substances by any physical or chemical methods. So these are our elements, and example for the elements are same as iron, gold, silver, aluminium, etc. are the types of our elements. And also these are homogeneous. Homogeneous means same as these are the pure substances. There is no adulteration, no any another element or atom is present is there. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about the classification of elements. So in the classification we have three types of elements, that are metals, non-metals and metalloids. So first, what are metals? Metals are elements which readily lose electrons to form positive ions or cations. Readily lose electrons. That means metals will lose electrons and will form positive ions or cations. Okay. So now how we can know that these are metals? As you know that there are over 80% of non-elements present in our industry, in our chemical society, that are metals. So now we are going to discuss about the properties of metals. Properties of metals are as follows. That means first is they are solid. Second, they are lustrous, which means they are shiny. Next is they are sonorous. Sonorous means they will produce sound. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay. Next, they are malleable, which means you can convert them into thin sheets. And next is ductile. That means you can actually draw wires from the metals. For example, copper wires, which means copper is a metal and you can make wire from copper metal. So properties are that metals are solid, that means they will be hard. They are shiny, they will shine. They will produce sound when they will hit with another another element or another metal. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. They are malleable, that means you can convert them into thin sheets. And last one is they are ductile, that means you can draw wires from the copper or you can draw wires from the metals. In the first we discussed that they are solid, but except mercury. Except mercury means mercury is a liquid metal. Okay. So next is about non-metals. What are non-metals? Non-metals will readily gain electrons and they will form negative ion or anions, which means when they will gain electron they will form negative ions. For example, chlorine is gaining an electron and in the product it is forming a negative ion of chlorine. So now we are going to discuss about the properties of non-metals. That means how you can identify that these are non-metals. The first property is that it is present in 3 states. 3 states means they are in all 3 states, which means solid, liquid and gases. Next is they are non-lustrous. The properties are actually opposite to that of the metals. That means the second property is that they are non-lustrous. That means they are not shiny. And next one, they are not sonorous. Means they will not produce any kind of sound. For example, carbon or the type of carbon is charcoal is a non-metals, and if you heat that non-metal or carbon or charcoal with any other non-metal or metal, it will not produce any sound. They are bad conductors of heat and electricity. They are not malleable, means they cannot be converted into thin sheets. And next, they are not ductile, which means you cannot draw wires from the non-metal. Next, we have another classification of elements is metalloids. So metalloids are those which have intermediate properties between metals and non-metals. That means they will attain both the properties of metals and non-metals, and they can react with both acids and bases. They will react with acids as well as base, so that's why they are known as amphoteric in nature. Okay, so this is about the classification of elements. So next, there is a question that, or there is a explanation that water is a mixture of, the formula of water is H2O and is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. So, but as we know that the mixture is the composition of two or more substances, but the water is a mixture but is a pure substance. Water is a pure substance. That's why it is known as a compound. That means water is a compound. So now we are going to discuss about our next topic, that is compound. Compound is a pure substance composed of atoms of two or more elements. It is actually mixture of two or more elements that are chemically composed with one another in fixed proportion. That means the proportion of the elements in compound, in forming compound, the proportion will be fixed. So, for example, the formation of water, in the formation of water, we are taking two hydrogens and an oxygen molecule is forming a smallest molecule or two molecules of water. That means the water here is in molecule form. Molecule, what is a molecule? Smallest particle of water is known as molecule. As you know that molecules, you can define molecule here. Molecule is the smallest particle of the compound. It is the smallest particle of the compound with properties similar to that of the compound. Same properties of compound. Example, we have already taken about the water. Okay. So now there is a question that, is salt a compound? Is salt solution a compound? The question is, salt solution a compound or not? So the answer is no. Even compounds have similar properties that of the elements. Salt solution is not a compound because it is a mixture of two different compounds, two different elements. That means one element and one is compound. That means we are using salt here. The NaCl is the formula of the salt or a common salt. That means it is also a molecule, a different molecule. And solution, for example, we are taking water to dissolve salt in water. So we are having two different compounds here. Even compounds have similar properties that of the elements. So compounds are composed of two or more elements which are chemically bound with one another in a fixed proportion. That is the definition of the compound. The compound are composed of two or more elements which are chemically bound with one another in fixed proportion. They are composed with two or more elements. That means to form sodium chloride, we are taking sodium and chlorine. Two different elements we are taking which are chemically bound. They are chemically joined with each other in a fixed proportion and they will form sodium chloride. In a fixed proportion means to form sodium chloride, we always have to take equal amount of the both sodium and chloride. That means we have to take one element of sodium and one element of chlorine. So now, how can one identify that these are compounds? So we are going to discuss about now characteristics of compound. They are homogeneous in nature. Homogeneous in nature means, example, water is containing only molecules of water. That means in water we have only the molecules of water, no different element. Next, they can be broken into elements. That means if you want to break water to H2O, you have to take 2 hydrogen atoms and oxygen molecule. You can break water into two different elements, hydrogen and oxygen. They are having fixed proportion. We already discussed about the fixed proportion. That means to form sodium chloride, we have to take equal amount of sodium and chlorine. Next is distinct properties of elements. Distinct properties of elements, that means, example, we can take about water, that in the water, when you are breaking the water, the elements of hydrogen and oxygen, they both are different from each other. The properties of hydrogen are different that from the oxygen. So they are having distinct properties. And last they have sharp melting point and boiling point. The compounds also have sharp melting and boiling points. So this is our last topic. So if you have any problem regarding the topic, you can call me up on my number. Okay, bye bye, take care.